that you're joining me this Monday night. I like to try to go live on my Spikes and Gills YouTube channel every Monday night. The last several live streams, like maybe the last 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, have been mostly about bear, the black bear, like you see behind me here, and about black bear hunting. And I transitioned into moose hunting, to talking about moose hunting tactics, preparing and getting ready for a moose hunting trip. If you were lucky enough to maybe purchased a guided moose hunt or drew maybe a moose hunting tag for the fall moose hunt in Maine, or maybe you're going on a moose hunt out in Alaska, up in Canada, or anywhere in the world for that matter, I'm going to talk about that, about moose hunting. Yeah, so hey, any of you that are joining me right now, are you going on a moose hunt this year? Let's see, hunting started already here in Maine. The first week of the moose hunt, I think, is underway right now, or just ended. What's the date today, guys? Hey, who's with me? What is today's date? Let's see, it's the 29th. Yeah, so the first week of the Maine's moose hunt started several days ago. And I'm going on a moose hunt in a couple weeks here in October. Anyone else going on a moose hunt? Let me know in the comments. Drop your comments. Let everyone know that's joining us live. If you're going on a moose hunt, let us know where you're going on that moose hunt, and if you're going to hunt the moose with a rifle, a bow, if it's going to be like a backpack style moose hunt, or if it's going to be like a horseback ride style, or mule type backpack and pack in type moose hunt up in the mountains and wilderness. Let us know what type of moose hunt you're going, or let us know if you just plan on driving the dirt roads and logging roads in your moose hunting zone in hopes to spot a moose out in the cuttings, clear cuts, selective cutting areas, cut over like 2-3-year-old cuts. I didn't know if you knew this, but a fact about moose is, you've got to think, and this stems from the body type, their body, their makeup, their build. They stand, their legs are like, my word, they're like 5 feet, 6 feet long. These moose, they're standing, let's see, I'm 5'11", so they stand at like 6 feet or more. Obviously got the big long necks, big heads. What do you think the type of browse, type of vegetation that they eat? What are the types of foods, things that they look for? You gotta think of their build, their body type. If you're guessing like maple saplings and sapling buds, leaves, tree leaves, tall, your herbaceous forby type vegetation that stands 4 or 5 feet tall, like your goldenrods and your there's even grasses that can grow to 4 feet tall. All your vegetation that stands 4 or 5 feet tall, and hence your saplings, your small young trees, anything like that the moose are going to browse on, feed on. So naturally, your 2 to 3-year-old cuts, even up maybe a 5-year-old cutting done by a logging operation, that type of area is going to be pounded on by moose grazing through there, browsing in those cutovers for that vegetation that stands at 4 or 5 feet tall. And now, thinking of your white-tailed deer, obviously you got to think how tall they are, how big a white-tailed deer is. Their biology makeup, their build, their body type allows them to feed on your lower herbaceous type vegetation, your forby vegetation that's only like maybe a couple feet off the ground. Your white-tailed deer can very conveniently and easily browse and feed on acorns, beech nuts, berries, your smaller herbaceous vegetation that's right at ground level. White-tailed deer can graze right at flat ground level, whereas your moose can't do that as readily, as easily. A moose will have to actually drop its front end, and moose will do this. How many of you that are with me live have seen a moose, grown moose, kneel down, bend their front legs, kneel down to feed, to get to vegetation or something they want to eat at the ground? That's how they have to do it. And obviously that uses much more energy. The effort, they're expending much more effort to feed that way. And it's just not as convenient for them to feed that way. So naturally, your moose are going to feed on your taller vegetation, your 4B type herbaceous vegetation that does grow, your broad-leaved forb type vegetation, all those plants that grow very tall. Your moose are going to feed on that, and obviously your deer will feed on the same stuff that moose will. But the deer have a little bit of more of an advantage to the moose in that they can feed right at ground level much easier and more conveniently than the moose can. See who's on with me. Nicholas Rello says hi. How you doing, Nicholas? Nicholas, are you going on a moose hunt, buddy? I'm waiting on some guys here, some other guys to join us here, Nicholas. There's a handful of guys that have been joining me live every Monday night. I'm waiting on some of the other guys to come on here. So Nicholas, are you going on a moose hunt? If so, where and what type of moose hunt are you going? What type of hunting method or tactic are you going to use to go about shooting your moose? Is it going to be like a wildernessy type moose hunt? A pack in, pack out type moose hunt where you'll have to like quarter and bag up the meat and parts of the moose and strap it to a pack and pack it out? Are you going to go on a moose hunt like that? Anyways, so while I'm waiting on who's with me here? So we got Nicholas. Waiting on Nicholas. Let me know if he's going on a moose hunt or not. See, my moose hunt that I'm going on is in like the Eustis area of Maine. It's the second week of October. It's not my moose hunt per se. I'm going as the cameraman. I think it would be Skip that drew this moose permit. My buddy Josh's father. Excuse me, everybody. I've got a burp. You guys want to see something really cool? Okay, so for those of you that are joining me live, leave in the comments, letting everyone know what you think this skull belongs to. What type of skull do you think this is? Let us know in the comments. Here, I'll show you another one. Well, actually, no. That might be a dead giveaway if I show you another skull. Might be it. See, Cash Barker says hi. So, Cash, are you going on a moose hunt, buddy? Let us know. Nicholas, he joined me. Nicholas and Cash, are either of you going on a moose hunt? And what type of moose hunt is it going to be? Let everyone know in the comments. Leave some more comments letting us know what type of moose hunting method or tactic you're going to use. Go about getting your moose. We'd love to all hear from one another, sharing each other's moose hunting tactics or tips and moose hunting experiences. Let us know. So, man, I've been on a handful of moose hunts, and believe it or not, all the moose hunts that I've been on, I was the cameraman. I was filming the hunt to get some footage, and I shared the moose hunting experiences on my channel, on my Spikes and Gills YouTube channel. So if you're joining me live and you love bear hunting, deer hunting, moose hunting, you love ice fishing, fly fishing, and you love to bow hunt for the bear and deer and things like that, then this channel Spikes and Gills is definitely for you. Spikes, hence this name Spikes in the Spikes and Gills has to do with obviously spike moose, a spike deer. The spike implies, you know, deer or any type of hoofed mammal that can grow spikes. And gills, obviously, that has to do with fish, with the fly fishing, ice fishing content stuff that I upload on my channel, Spikes and Gills. So if you love all this stuff, you love fishing and hunting, anything to do with it, you like, and if you like product reviews, learning about different products for hunting products, different fishing products and things, every now and then I upload product reviews on fishing gear, product reviews on hunting gear on my YouTube channel. If you like anything to do with that, and you love to fly fish for salmon and trout, and you love to ice fish for trout and salmon, things like that, and you love your deer hunting, bear hunting, moose hunting, turkey hunting, then this channel, Spikes and Gills, is definitely for you. Definitely subscribe and click the notification bell so you'll be notified of all future uploads by Spikes and Gills. And I'm going to try my best to go live every Monday night. Those of you that are joining me that have not been with me live in the last handful of Mondays, you missed all the bear hunting content. I'm now transitioned into the moose hunting content, stuff about moose hunting tips, tactics, things like that. So, yeah, so I'm still waiting on Cash and Nicholas answering my question of whether or not they're going on a moose hunt. All right. Hey, Jason Gibson, are you on here, buddy? So Nicholas and Cash is my good friend Jason, who I've met through the YouTube world. He's constantly dropping comments on my videos, and he watches almost every upload on my channel, Spikes and Gills. And he's actually from my home state, Maine, and I hope to meet him in person one day. I'm hoping that me and Jason can do some ice fishing together and go on some hunts together, and I could obviously include him in the filming, the videography part of it, and hopefully have him on some of my episodes on the Spikes and Gills YouTube channel. So I'm hoping that all of you that are joining me live are just as passionate about all these things that Jason was, and continue to join me live every Monday, and continue to watch my episodes and drop your comments and click the like button for me and all that. I'd love to build a hunting community around moose hunting and deer hunting and bear hunting and turkey hunting, and around fishing, everything to do with fishing. I want to build a community here. So by me going live every Monday night, all of you guys can join me. I go live every Monday night about 9 p.m., 9 to 10. I plan on going live. And so you guys all of you can join us, and we can converse with one another through the chat, the live chat on the live stream. And you can share your experiences with us, and I'll share mine. Now, eventually I plan on possibly starting a podcast so I could have actual guests on. But that's... So there's Jason, everybody. Jason says hi. Welcome, Jason. I was just talking about you, buddy. I didn't read the full comment, Jason, that I saw on my phone that you had just dropped me a comment about something to do with your bear hunting. But obviously I've been chatting about moose hunting. Jason, you can actually correct me, Jason Gibson, if I'm wrong, but I think the first week of the Maine's moose hunt is coming to a close. So the second week of the moose hunt, I think I think we're in it right now. I think today was the first day of the second week of the Maine's moose hunt. But correct me, Jason, if I'm wrong, or anyone on here that knows a lot about the Maine's moose hunt. I think, yeah, the first week ended. Now, I was talking about the moose hunt I'm going on in October, the second week in October. And I'm waiting on hearing from anybody else that's going on a moose hunt. I want to chat with you, talk all about your moose hunting tactic or method you plan on using to try to get your moose. I don't know if all of you know this, but the majority of the people that draw a moose tag for the state of Maine, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. It's probably Could be in the 80 percentile, could be higher than that, could be somewhere between the 80, 90 percentile. All the people that draw a moose permit, they drive the roads, man. In their whatever zone they got the moose permit for, they'll go up and down the dirt roads, logging roads. They're driving almost aimlessly. What they're hoping to do is spot a moose off the beaten path, off the road. Maybe spot a moose not too far into a clear logging cut, a cut done by a logging operation or such and so forth. So the majority of people don't actually get into the backwoods, get up into the mountains in their moose hunting zone. And I've noticed a lot of like the moose hunting success rate dropping because of that a little bit. I don't know if how many of you have noticed that too. There are a lot of folks that draw a moose permit for the state of Maine, and it's a rare thing to do. People have been trying to draw a moose tag in this state, the state of Maine, for years and years, for 10, 20 years, and they finally get one. And how many of you can back me up on this? How many of you know of those that have gotten moose permit for the state of Maine and have gotten skunked, an 8-tag stoop, and didn't fill that moose tag? And maybe it's because they were heater hunting, just driving the road. The moose, they're not as dumb of an animal as people really make them out to be. How many of you were, I'm guilty of thinking this years ago, before I really knew better, before I learned about a lot about the moose. How many of you were guilty of, like I was, and thinking that bullwinkle moose was just a dumb, clumsy, stupid animal? A lot of people think that. They really aren't. If the moose hunting success is going down based on the majority of people just hunting the roads, staying on the roads, not even going 100 yards into the woods and up the ridge of a mountain, the hunting success rate is going down. Why do you think that is? That's because the moose, man, they're catching on to us moose hunters. They're learning, they're figuring out that those roadways hanging nearby, all those logging roads and dirt roads, those beaten paths, they're learning that those are danger zones, those are threatening, those are areas not to venture into in the daylight. I mean, I've been on moose hunts where we got out before daylight, where we were driving the dirt road, driving the roads, and we were jumping. We were having to slam on our brakes because moose were in the road and walking the road edges and crossing the roads. But in the pitch black dark, it was totally 100% illegal against the law to shoot a moose in the dark. And the moose knew that that's when they were near the roadways. But then come daylight, we went on our merry way, hunting in hopes of spotting moose. We were not seeing anything. We were getting a big fat goose egg during the daylight hours. But we were seeing the moose along the roads and after dark. The moose, man, they knew they could be touched. They knew they weren't being shot at. They weren't being pursued in the dark cover of darkness. And come daylight, they knew that the Orange Army was out there, that the hunters, that humans were going to be on the roadways and be off just the edges of the roads and the woods. And the moose were getting deep back into the thicker timber. They're getting up into the steep mountains. They were hiding in the thick swampy areas or hiding up at high elevation. So let's see, Jason says first week ended the 27th. I think next starts somewhere around 10th. Cool. So Jason corrected me. Yeah, so Jason's saying the second week might not start till October 10th. But the first week of the moose hunt ended the 27th, a couple days ago. Yeah, so I'm going on, Jason, actually. That's the start of my moose hunt, the 13th, buddy. That's when I go on the moose hunt in October. So that may be the second week of the moose hunt, the 13th, Jason. So yeah, kudos to you, buddy. Thanks for letting us all know. So I still haven't heard from Nicholas or Cash or whether or not they're... No, but I wish... Oh, okay, so Cash Cash finally said he's not going on a moose hunt, but he wishes he could. A lot of people are in the same boat with you, Cash. A lot of people that love to hunt would love to go on a moose hunt. I think this is my 4th or 5th moose hunt I'm going on, but only as a cameraman. I actually haven't been putting in for a moose permit. I don't even know if I did this year or not. I think I did. I drew a doe permit. I actually have 5 deer tags currently right now. I actually have a, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of the density map survey studies that the Inland Fish and Wildlife, the state of Maine biologists are have started. I got tongue-tied there. I sounded like, and looked like probably an idiot because I didn't know what to say. But yeah, I got a special doe permit for this density map survey study thing for a certain zone. There was only 50 tags given in the zone that I got the area that I got the doe permit for. And then I got my regular doe permit for another zone, for the zone that I live in. So I've got 2 doe permits and obviously the buck tag, statewide buck tag. So and then I've purchased my expanded archery tags, my either sex buck or doe, either sex expanded archery tag, and then a doe tag for expanded archery. So I currently have 5 deer tags, way too many. I mean, I'm hoping to at least fill 3 of the 5, but I don't care to fill any more than that. I already got a bear. I put in the freezer, or turkey from the spring. Probably will end up with some moose meat after this moose hunt I'm going on. I won't need that many deer, but the one tag that I was told I absolutely have to fill, guys, is that density map doe tag. And it was a tag given via a text message from the game warden. The game warden sent the special tag to all these people that got the tag to their phones through a text. And then the game warden met with us. I had a special sit-down meeting on some bleachers at a school with the warden, explaining this whole study that Inland Fish and Wildlife is doing and stuff, conducting. And we were told that this was a tag that we must fill in and people that shoot, pretty much the people in my area that got this density map survey special study doe permit, it was those that shoot deer like every year. Like I get like 1 to 3 deer every year. Yeah, I'm always shooting deer. And all those that were with me in this meeting, these are all other guys that always tag out that get deer every year, and we were all hand selected based on the warden knowing us and knowing our hunting history and background. And we were told we absolutely have to fill this doe permit. So anyway, oh yeah, so that was me straying a little bit off the topic of moose hunting. So let's see, I can bet you right now that Jason and Josh and Steve, they have their laundry list of items and things they're going to take with them on this moose hunt that we're going on. And I imagine the guys have been out shooting, target practice, shooting the rifles, zeroing them in, making sure the scopes are on, and especially the sub-permittee and the one that got the moose permit. That would be Skip and possibly, I think Skip and his son Josh. I think they'll be the shooters on this moose hunt. And Jason, my best friend Jason, he's a stickler to like preparing way early in advance, weeks in advance on a big trip like this. He's the one with the list. And if any of us forgot anything going on this moose hunt, Jason will have it. He has our backs. He brings everything that you would need for a moose hunt. And let's see. So I was talking about earlier about the type of browse, the food and browse that moose would focus on. You know, you got to figure they're tall animals. You're going to find moose in mountainous, hilly, mountainous country and obviously you're going to find moose near swampy wetland areas, near places with lakes and ponds and streams. Moose, they inhabit the majority of the state of Maine. You can find moose all over the state of Maine, and obviously deer too, and bear, even black bear, you can find them all over. But and moose, they do well in swampy type habitat. The moose, because of their large size, their build, they require a lot of sodium content. They need certain minerals and nutrients that they mainly get from aquatic vegetation. I didn't know if any of you knew this was a fact about moose. A lot of people going on a moose hunt, they will obviously they'll go to like a wetland, boggy, swampy, big wide open swamp wetland area to look for moose. And obviously you'll find moose in high elevation mountainous terrain where there's been some logging operations, where there's 2, 3-year-old, 5-year-old cutovers, cuttings. Those areas provide lots of food, browse for the moose as well. Let's see who just joined us here that I haven't said hi to. We've got Keith. Lily says, "Good evening. Well, my son and my wife have moose tags for the adaptive hunt in 4A the same week in October. My son has shot a 210-pound sow and his turkey. Moose will be a challenge." Oh, so hey, Jason, if you're still with me, Jason and Cash and Nicholas. Jason saying willow, birch, and aspen seem popular feed for moose this time of year. Yeah, most certainly. Did you see this, Jason? This Keith Lilly says that they got a moose tag for the 4A. It's that special adaptive hunt. So Keith, I went on a special adaptive moose hunt a couple years ago. It was a moose only tag that we had, and we were unsuccessful. But we also went on the special adaptive moose hunt, Keith, in the third week that the special adaptive hunt was going on. And we were told that the success rate the first week was in the 70 percentile. And then the second week of the adaptive moose hunt, the special adaptive unit moose hunt, the success rate dropped below 60%. It was more like 50 something, 40, high 40s to 50 something percent. And then we were told that to expect the success rate in the third week of the special adaptive moose hunt to be hardly 40%, 35, 40% success rate. And that's about what it was. And we weren't one of the 35% that got a moose. I really hope you guys do succeed in getting one. Congratulations on the 200-pound sow. I mean, my bear I shot wasn't that big this year, but the skull you see, I'm going to be mounting the bear. I do my own taxidermy, but this bear skull over my left shoulder, that bear skull right there, belongs to a 240-pound dressed boar that I shot last year. I'm going to be doing the taxidermy mount. I did this mount on this bear right here over my right shoulder myself. That's my own mount. I did a deer over here. So congratulations, Keith, on the bear and the turkey. I really hope you guys do fill that tag at that moose. Obviously, clearly, because you're trying for the Grand Slam. How many of you on here that are with us live know what the MAINE Grand Slam is? That's the ability to fill a moose tag, a bear tag, turkey tag, and a deer tag. You do that, you accomplish that in a single hunting season in the state of Maine, you've gotten the Maine Big Game Grand Slam. Jason says, Keith, congrats to your son on a sow and turkey. Yeah, so Jason and I, we congratulate you, Keith. I hope you guys do. Yeah, those special adaptive unit moose hunts there. Keith, actually, if you're still with us, buddy, did the Department of Inland Fish and Wildlife send you a special video you had to watch? Oh, Keith says, congratulations on your bear. I did shoot my biggest bear this year also, 250-pound bear. Wife also has the same moose tags. Also, I think, so Jason, so Keith, why I keep referring to Jason Gibson, he's just been a faithful follower. He's with me here every Monday night. I go live like every Monday night, and Jason's always watching my videos and commenting. Me and Jason are going to get together soon for a hunt or some ice fishing. But so Keith, yes, let's see, we watched the video. Oh yeah, so Jason Gibson, I didn't know if you knew this because I think Jason hasn't. I don't know if Jason's ever gotten a moose permit, but these special adaptive unit moose hunts, there's a video you have to watch on it explaining the purpose and reason behind these special moose zones, these units that you special adaptive moose. A lot of it has to do with the overwintering of the tick population, so they presume. They say. But Keith, you and your wife and son, when you go on this up there into that zone, I think I hunted that same zone, me and my friend Thunder. I think we were in zone 4. That's way up in the northwestern quadrant of the state of Maine. And we were in the zone we were in, we were almost into Canada a few times. We had to like stop ourselves. We were hunting along the border of Canada and Maine. And we were seeing a lot of maple serp lines. We were debating whether or not it was the special adaptive unit moose hunt was really put on to try to control the tick population, the tick problem, and the overwintering of the ticks. But that northwestern part of Maine doesn't even have as many ticks as the central, southeastern, and southern part of Maine has anyway. But we were like, all the maple serp lines, we were seeing the maple serp companies and stuff that had property up there, land that they were leasing from the state. I think it was state-owned land, but the maple serp companies, maple serp industries, or whatever that was, had all these maple serp lines. I'm of the firm belief that they've been complaining about the moose tearing down breaking their maple serp lines and being a nuisance to the maple serpent and stuff and such. So there's just a lot of argument either side of this special adaptive unit moose hunts, and the fact that like the success rate is very high the first week of the special adaptive unit moose hunt. I think they like do it for like a month straight, and the success rate diminishes quite a bit week to week as it goes on. And there's been a lot of moose already shot in this zone, that unit. But he says, yes, sir, my other son had the hunt there 3 years ago. First unsuccessful moose hunt I had been on in 13 hunts. Yeah. So Keith, I was just talking about earlier before you joined us, Keith, that, Keith thanked you, Jason. If you didn't see that, Jason, Keith thanked you, buddy. So Keith, I hope you can join us live future Mondays. I'll be transitioning to everything to do about deer, current events around deer, facts about deer and deer hunting, such so forth soon. But I just finished, Keith, all the bear hunting content. I'm now on the moose hunting content on my channel, Spikes and Gills, and then going on to deer. And then after deer will be ice fishing season, hence the gills part of my channel name. But I was just talking about earlier in my live stream that the success rate overall as a whole of the Maine moose hunt has diminished quite a bit through the years, mainly because of all the heater hunting, all the hunters driving the dirt roads and logging roads and refusing to get off the beaten path and getting out into the woods. The hunters are barely going 100 yards off the sides of the roads, and they're getting skunked, or they're even having really tough hunts and not even shooting a moose till barely the last day of the hunt, where they could have probably tagged out sooner. Hence, if they would have gotten off the beaten path and went into the woods and went up into the mountains or into the swamps. It's crucial to really find those hidden gems. If you want to have a successful moose hunt and you want to get on moose quickly, find those hidden gems, those areas that are holding moose that are off the beaten path, off those dirt roads. It's like ridiculous. It's like probably 80% or more of the hunters are just driving the roads with their trailers hooked up to the backs with their four-wheelers and winches and chainsaws and such, so forth, tow straps, in hopes to just dump a moose off the side of the road. And a lot of them are going home empty-handed for good reason. I was also mentioning how I'm guilty of this, as I'm sure many of you are and other people are, that in our earlier years when we were young, and we're probably guilty of this because of the cartoons blindsided us, thinking that bullwinkle moose is a dumb, clumsy, stupid animal. And they really are not. They can learn just as quick as the deer and bear and coyote and turkey. They learn from repetitiveness. They can rationalize and think. They're not a stupid animal. I can't count how many times on the moose hunts that I've been on, when I mentioned this also earlier, that where me and the guys, we set out in the dark, early morning hours before daylight, and we had to slam on the brakes for moose that were on the sides of the road, that were crossing the roads. And then come daylight, there weren't a moose to be seen anywhere. The moose were back, deep into the back, thick timber, into the swamp, wetlands, into the thick, up into the higher elevations of the mountains. They got off those beaten paths. Those roads where all the hunters were. They're not stupid. They were avoiding the human pressure and surviving because of it. So I've been rambling a lot. See, I want to read some people's comments. Jay says, I've seen a lot of moose and moose sign in the Aspen clear cuts while grouse hunting. That's awesome, Jason. Yeah, the Aspen clear. Yeah, moose really love. Jason mentioned this earlier. Keith, he was talking about what he's noticed. They have moose they love to eat. I mean, moose, they're such tall animals. And I was talking about how, like, the white-tailed deer have the upper hand on the moose a little bit, and hence, like, the white-tailed deer can actually, their food menu for the deer is actually larger than a moose. The moose is larger than a deer, but the deer, they can conveniently browse and graze at ground level. They can pick up the nuts and the berries and the tiny herbaceous vegetation ground level, whereas the moose, they'd have to expenditure a lot of energy to do that, to eat at ground level. I don't know how many of you have ever spotted a moose, seen moose do this. I have myself, and many eons ago, seen moose bend their front legs and like drop their front end to eat something off the ground at ground level. But that's hard for them to do that. And doesn't make sense for them to do that. They're expendituring a lot of energy and effort. It probably even makes them vulnerable to predation. If they're already in that position, a coyote or wolf, or a pack of coyotes or a wolf could grab onto the back of the neck and, like, probably immobilize a moose, take down a moose if they're already crouched down, like, in that position. So your moose, they're eating your vegetation that's growing 4 or 5 feet tall, your aspen saplings, your maple saplings, and your herbaceous herbaceous vegetation in the form of forbs, your broadleaf forby type herbaceous vegetation that does grow very tall. The moose are going after that, eating that type of vegetation. But that's about it for moose. The moose, they obviously could strip bark of certain trees. The moose love to do this to maples, strip the barks of maples to get to the sugary growing the cambium layer behind the bark in these young maples. That sugary sappy. They're doing that for that. And then obviously hence they're eating the leaves of so your maple trees, aspens, things like that, they provide food, year-round food for the moose, really. The buds, the leaves, the stripping of the bark to get to the cambium layer, and so forth, so on. So, yeah, I'm just like rambling, I'm losing my train of thought pretty easily because I'm just rambling. Let's see, any other good insights, any good intel from anybody? So Keith says, I'm heading up there tomorrow to scout. Yeah, it's good. So Keith Lilly, I upload my last 2 uploads on my Spikes and Gills YouTube channel. My last 2 uploads were on moose hunting. There are moose videos having to do with preparing for a moose hunt and getting ready for a moose hunt. The first one was all about what you should pack and bring to onto moose, and it was actually the first video of the two the last two I uploaded was on the 8 things I wish I knew before going on a moose hunt or so forth, so on. And the most recent upload was the 3 land features, 3 key land geographical type features that all hunters should really focus on. These 3 land features that I mentioned, and all of you that are with me live here, after you leave me on this live stream, you have to go watch that video, that most recent upload I uploaded, where I was taught, I showed live examples, I talked about, but also I was on it, I was traveling that day, and going and finding real live examples of these 3 key land features that all hunters should focus on when not only moose hunting, but deer hunting and bear hunting. And when if you're doing a like a sit, like an ambush style type hunt with a stand, or you're sitting, you call in and such and so forth for your moose, then these 3 land features are a must. You want to key in on them. They're like areas that hold moose, kind of pinch, narrow down moose travel. So you guys will have to check out that video when you leave here. So it says, I will definitely, thank you, he said. Yeah, so scouting, I mentioned, oh man, I can't stress it enough how scouting is very important. Jason and Josh, when we went on their trophy bull moose hunt a couple years ago, Jason and Josh went like a month in advance up to the area where we went on the moose hunt, and it paid off, and they scouted areas that they had leads on anyway. From a family friend that's actually a registered Maine guide, he told them of an area that was holding a couple good bull moose. And they had a harem of cows. They had some cows that were staying there. The home range for those cows was like right in this particular area, and hence it was holding the bulls there because the rut was kicking in, the pre-rut and the rut for the moose. And they went and scouted this area, and they quickly jumped a cow, and they saw fresh sign everywhere, evidence of bulls being there, and the game was on. And this was a hidden gem. This area that Jason and Josh went to scout was off the beaten path, was off the dirt road. We had to go in a couple hundred yards to hunt this bull, and we were on old grown-up skidder trails, and we were hunting off the edge of a 3-year-old cutting. There was a swampy wetland down below in lower elevation. The intersection of old logging trails were grown up, full of woody, herbaceous, like forby type browse for the moose. There was evidence of them feeding everywhere. And we were watching the intersection in between like a narrow, this is one of the 3 land features that I mentioned in my previous upload that all hunters should key in on, focus on in their scouting efforts to go about finding that, yes, the deer, moose, or bear using that area now, and find, you know, it's a narrow type funnel like area where it's the inside corner, where the inside interior edge of the corner. Inside corners are great for deer hunting, bear hunting, moose hunting, but they're worthless. You're wasting your time on an inside corner. What I mean by that is, if picture the edge of a clear cut, the edge of a swamp, edge of a field, the corners right here, the inside corner, we're just stepping off that field, stepping off of that clearing inside the woods. You're in on the inside corner. But if you step in that inside corner and it's flat, very open timber, for as long as I can see, you're wasting your time on that inside corner. Go to an inside corner that has an inner edge off of the outer edge. Inner edges, interior corner, inside corners with geographical land features, or like topographical type features, like a little ridge or another clearing, or maybe a pond or lake in there, or a swamp, thick wall of timber, like impenetrable timber that's in there 50 yards, 100 yards off of the outer edge, outer corner, that can create a funnel, pinch net, bottleneck-like area that would hold moose, bear, deer, that would funnel your animal through. Those are the inside interior corners that you want to focus on if you're hunting. So it says, Keith says, I feel a good spot this year will be near a water source where it's been dry a lot. Yeah, I actually, opening season of the Maine's archery hunt on deer is this Saturday, and Keith, I was actually contemplating that myself. I mean, we've had most recently, we've had quite a few rainstorms, and I've noticed a little bit of moisture coming back. Not that much. The drought is still pretty much going on right now. So Keith, you're totally right, 100% right. I I feel that too. That you would be doing well to find those inside those like drainages, those draws, the heads of draws that lead to water down below. Find those interior edges, inside corners off the cuttings and off the big wide open swampy wetland areas that have your interior or inner edges and geographical features that would help pinch down, bottleneck your moose that obviously has water nearby. Swamp. Yeah, you'd be doing well to go into places like that, hunting near water. I've I can't count how many times I've been successful at shooting deer on a hot day during an archery hunt when it was like the temps got in the 70s, and I just knew to go right for water that day. Like, and I heard deer I remember being on some hunts, early season archery hunts. I was doing some call and attention grunting and mixing in a little bit of attention doe bleats and making it sound like a group of deer were out. And I got the attention of some young bucks and stuff. And I've done this many times, and I've heard them coming from a long ways off because I could hear the splashing in the water. They were obviously bedded on a little hummock, most likely, like a little high. Hummocks are a little high pieces of ground out in the swampy wetland areas where there's water that the deer or moose or bear can lay on and be dry, so they're not laying right in the water, but they can conveniently go and drink. They could drink. They could be laying there drinking. They have water, and they very well could be some type of browse they're feeding on, whether it's jewelweed or a fern, fiddlehead, or a type of aquatic type grass or something that they might be eating on. They could have all that right there on that little hummock, that little area. The moose could have everything they need in these wetlands. Yeah, so Keith, so Jason and everyone else is with us. What do you think of Keith's thought on focusing on water in areas? Water. Obviously, moose need, it's been a very dry season, dry summer. They're a big animal. They're going to be a very thirsty animal. They're going to need a lot of water, and they require much more sodium type, like salt and other minerals and nutrients and things that much more of it than a deer or bear, other smaller animals, and moose get a lot of what they need from aquatic vegetation. That's why a lot of people spot moose in ponds and lakes and wetland areas, dunking their whole head underwater, grabbing the water lily, and then there's the duckweed, and there's different types of aquatic. There's the arrow. What's the name of that aquatic vegetation? It's shaped like an arrow. I almost had the name of it, but yeah, the moose, they eat all this aquatic vegetation because of it has what they need. So yeah, yeah, you do well. So I've been live for 48 minutes, almost past my bedtime. How has it past everyone else's bedtime yet? This was a good chat about moose hunting stuff, moose hunting tactics. So, yeah. Yeah. Waiting on seeing if anyone else. I've asked a few other people if they're going on a moose hunt. Keith has been the only one to come forward so far to say he's going on a moose hunt. So, yeah, I think you do well, Keith, to focus on those wet areas, your scouting efforts. I really hope you and your son and you and your wife, they fill those moose tags, because those special adaptive unit moose hunts can be tougher hunts than some others, and hence actually Keith, he already said that he had a son that went on the special adaptive unit moose hunt. Yeah, right here 3 years ago. And that it was his first unsuccessful moose hunt in the 13 moose hunts he's been on. So I hope that's not the case this year for you. So I wish all of you that are going on moose hunts this year, and those of you that are go on moose hunts in the near future, like next year or a couple years to come, wish all of you the best of luck on your moose hunts and your moose hunting endeavors. And the opener of Maine's deer regular archery season on deer is this Saturday. The deer hunting has already been going on for a month because of Maine's expanded archery season. I've been deer hunting once this year already. I did an evening sit in an expanded archery zone. I got skunked. Short story. Got a big fat goose egg. I'm really mostly excited and anxious for this coming Saturday for opening day. I can't wait for deer hunting. So I wish all of you the best of luck in your hunting endeavors. Keith, I hope you and your family get a moose, man. I really do. So yeah, so Keith will keep me posted. Jason, I hope you do, Keith. No, your moose hunts the third. I think you're going the 13th, the week of the 13th. So you should be able to join us back here next Monday night. I go live every Monday at 9 p.m. And thank you, Keith. Good luck to you too if you're bow hunting, buddy. I think Jason will be out bow hunting deer. So I wish you the best of luck, Jason. Jason, you and I, we need to hook up for a hunt soon, buddy. You've been so faithful here, like joining me live, and commenting on all my uploads. And there's a few others too that, yeah. I want to build this hunting community stronger than ever. I want to have a good handful of guys that come on here live every Monday night that chat it up. We can chat it up, man, and talk hunting, talk all about moose hunting facts, moose hunting tactics, the current events around moose, and talk about bear, talk about deer hunting, talk about fishing. So, see, Keith says, I am first year this year with a crossbow. Oh, yeah. So, Keith, that's awesome, Keith. So you're giving the bow hunting a try. Yeah, my son, he's only 12. He said he'd hunt more if he had a crossbow. I need to buy him a crossbow. He told me my son shot his first deer at 10 years old with a 20 gauge shotgun with a slug, but he doesn't like the kickback from them guns. I need to buy a crossbow. So my son did say he'd hunt more if he was like, Daddy, you get me a crossbow, I'll hunt more. So I wish you the best of luck, Keith, and with your hunting with your crossbow. Hope you get one, buddy. Jason says, sounds good. Only 30 miles down the road. Yeah, because Jason, yeah, you're like in the moose horn. Yeah, I know, really. Yeah, I'm like in the mature. Yeah, we're not far from one another. Haven't got bow equipment or safety course. Oh, Jason, I thought you did bow hunt, buddy. No, this is news to me, buddy. I thought you had bow and arrow. Huh. I'm sure that's on your list of things to do. To get that bow course under your belt and get a bow. Anyways, everybody, I hope all of you have a good night. I'll be back here again next Monday night to talk more moose. Talk more about moose hunting tactics. And I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and reading up around on moose hunting and reading up on moose. I have my wildlife biology degree, my Bachelor of Science wildlife biology degree from Unity College. So I have a little bit of background knowledge of all the critters of Maine anyway, but I don't know everything. So it's helpful for me to always stay refreshed and learn more through podcasts and reading constantly. And I want to share all that knowledge that I just have it's all that knowledge that's swelling in my brain. I want to share with all of you, with one another on my live streams and on my YouTube videos. And I want all of us to do it together. That's why I want this hunting community that I'm trying to build here with my live stream to grow, get bigger. So tell all your buddies and friends about Spikes and Gills and have them join me live Monday nights at 9 p.m. And so here I've got I don't know if any of you heard of my books. Well, I have 2 books, Wild Maine. The first one, Wild Maine Outdoors, Hunting Tactics, Tricks, and Secrets. Then the second book, The Sit Spot, Discovering the Forest Near You. You can order any one of them books in the description below all my videos, the PayPal links to click on to order the Wild Maine Outdoors, Hunting Tactics, Tricks, and Secrets, or to order The Sit Spot, Discovering the Forest Near You. There, you can order them in the descriptions below all the videos. And obviously my Spikes and Gills hoodies and t-shirts and things can be ordered through that shopping icon below all the videos too. So, greatly appreciate all of you guys' support and follow, extra follow and everything. So I'll see all of you back here next Monday night. So good night, everybody. Wish you the best of luck.